My internet went down. I do apologise. So sorry, but we're going to be chatting about Halloween 4. Might have to do all my introductions again. Let me just add everybody back in. Just 1 second. Oh dear. That's never happened before. Just add it. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Oh dear. Right. Hiya! I'm so sorry, my internet went down.
Hey, you're back.
Hey!
Yay.
We had gremlins in the system.
We all panicked, Jenny.
I was like, oh no. And then I looked and it said no internet, and our internet had just crashed randomly.
Oh no.
Oh,
Michael isn't outside chopping up your internet cables.
I know. I reckon it was Josh looking out the window with his little bloody scissors. Right, I just had Robbie back in. Hopefully that will work. Hopefully it won't go down again. Hiya, sorry, Robbie.
No, you're totally fine. I didn't know what was going on. I was like checking my router.
Oh, it was me. My internet went down. Yeah, so yeah, just randomly. It's never gone down before like that. It was literally just dead.
I think our costumes like exploded the internet.
Yeah.
It just looked so good that they couldn't handle us. Instagram couldn't handle us.
Oh, that's it. That's what it was. Yeah, Sharon says I reckon it was the weather. Yeah, it is a little bit stormy here, so it might be that. Hopefully I will get by now, fingers crossed. But I'll just quickly indulge me, and I'll just run through introductions again, just really quickly, so then I don't have to piece the video together after.
Yeah,
basically. So we're going to be chatting Halloween 4, and we have with us the brilliant, I'll have to do it backwards now, Robbie Miles, author of Don't Fall at All, and the Time Watchers. Do check these books out, they're brilliant spooky reads, and check out Robbie's YouTube channel as well, because he's just started that up and it's really super cool. It's brilliant. I love it. And do check out, Emma's got some really creepy, keep you up at night short stories in these. Very scary. Check those out. And also we have the brilliant Josh Winning with us, author of The Shadow Glass, Burn the Negative, and recently released Heads Will Roll. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So those are our guests this evening, and thank you for joining us in the comments. Pop your comments up, I'll try and read them out. So I'll just quickly do an introduction. I've got to read that whole introduction again now.
Like a bad
just put my voice on. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. So 10 years ago, on the night of October 31st, a small Midwestern town fell victim to an escaped killer. Under the cover of darkness, he carried out the most horrifying mass murder on record, 16 people in cold blood, but we reckon we could do it more than that. Ever since that night, no one has forgotten his name, and Halloween has never been the same. So now Michael Myers has come home. He has returned for one more night of terror. And as I mentioned before, the script was written in 11 days, and it just beat the 1988 writer's strike by a couple of hours. And 1998 was the first year we had all three of the top horror franchises release a film. So you had Halloween 4, you had Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. And additionally, we had Child's Play, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, and Phantasm 2. Yes, said it right. Yes! Getting used to it now. don't hold your breath, Josh.
flew into my eye.
All the spooky things are happening. Oh no, you okay, Emma?
Yeah, I think it was just like, one of those little tiny flies.
Oh,
I could see it out the corner of my eye, and it went, and I was like, I didn't
This
want to
is like-
interrupt that. That was wonderful, Shelley.
Okay, but this is like the time when we did the Candyman chat and it kept like playing up all night.
Yeah.
And then I realised I was connected to my mum's
Your
internet
mum's.
because I lived next door to my mum at the time.
Oh,
I was like, I don't know
oh
what's
that's
happening.
right. Yeah.
We thought it was cursed. So the film begins what has become known as the Thorn trilogy story arc, which continued with Halloween 5 and Halloween 6. Yay! My internet didn't go down this time. Larissa said Rupert being cheeky, Emma.
He's not here, thankfully, but I wish he was. He could have eaten that fly. That would have been helpful.
Oh, bless you. You all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
all
okay?
good.
Oh,
Just
bless
took me by
you.
surprise. I was like, what's in my
Oh dear. And we're all dressed up tonight, and I was saying earlier I can't move my face very well because I put that much green on, so yeah, I feel like I can't talk properly.
That's brilliant, Shelley.
I just want to say real quick that you guys crushed it with the costumes. You guys are amazing. I came on. I was just so excited to see you guys in costume. Like, just awesome. Awesome.
Oh no, thank
You
you.
brought the heat today, so thank you for like full on costume. I feel so underdressed in my Freddy sweater.
No, not at all. Oh, you look fab. I was a bit concerned when you said you'd left the knife club in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to admit.
No, I should have brought it. Oh yeah.
No.
Believe it or not,
It's like it's our
but it's funny, like I have students that I see it, I have it on display, and the kids are like, "Can we put it on? Can we put it on?" I'm like, "Hard no, hard pass. Definitely not a good idea."
Even Robert England couldn't wear that thing without hurting himself, so I don't think kids should go near that thing.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's like a plastic toy, but it's very funny. Like I have these seventh graders looking at it, like, "Can we put it on?" Definitely not.
When you're older.
I always remember the time when I met Robert England at Comic Con, and I had this whole thing planned out. I was like, yes, I'm going to get him to do this type of pose and whatever. I had it all planned out. And then as soon as I got to the front of the queue, he just looked at me, pointed the little knife thing, and he said, "I know what to do with you." And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So literally the photo, I'll share it. I've shared it before, but oh, it's funny.
I went to a con many years ago that he was at, and he was like the premier guest. He had his own floor. So like if you wanted a signature or whatever, you had to go up to the floor, and the line was all the way the hotel floor back to the elevator. It was insane.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's insane, yeah.
Freddy.
That's it, yeah. He took me a bit unawares in this photo then, because I literally was like, oh my God, I'm scared. So this photo, you see it in my face, like you can tell I don't know what to do. It's hilarious. Oh dear. Eddie May said, yeah, he did. Eddie May said, "It's Emma. Every time she's on a live lately, something spooky always happens." It does.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
No, it was definitely me this time with the internet. So kicking things off then, so was Halloween 4 a first time watch for you, or have you seen it before? What were your memories or your first impressions, Josh?
I've seen this one a lot. I'm pretty sure it was the first Halloween film I ever watched. Like my grand tradition of never watching a franchise in the order it's supposed to be watched. It was after I'd seen Scream, and I sent my mum off to the video shop to get me a Halloween movie because I was too young to rent them myself because I wasn't 18. And she brought back Halloween 4. So this was like my first experience of Michael Myers. And it terrified me. It really scared me. Like, Michael Myers is the only slasher villain I've ever had a nightmare about.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's because, like now when I watch it now, I think this is one of the cheesier versions of Michael Myers. But back in the day when it was my first sort of experience of him, he really scared the shit out of me.
Oh, wow. Oh, how about you, Emma? Have you seen this before?
No, I've never seen it before, and I think that there was some sort of camp when I was like 2 camps when I was a kid. You were either in the Freddy camp or you were in the Michael camp or the Jason camp, or 3 probably, the Jason one as well. So Michael and Jason tend to go together, and people used to watch those together. And and then people used to be hardcore Freddy, and I was over on the Freddy side. So I didn't really see all the Halloween movies. I only saw number 1 and thought, that's not for me, and didn't watch any more. So this is the first one for me. So I've kind of watched 1 back in the day, and now 4. So like Josh, I'm not doing it in order.
Oh, I love that. And you are right, there was like a camp. I was team Freddy back then.
That's
Freddy
actually interesting, because like Halloween 2 is where you get all the mythology about him being her brother and all that stuff. So going from 1 to 4 must have been a bit of a shock.
Oh, how about you, Robbie? You've seen it before, right?
I have seen it before quite a few times. It had been, I think, probably like a couple of years since I watched it. I did a rewatch for the pod for for today, and I kind of like skimmed through some of the parts because this week was crazy. But I have seen it several times. But I'm with Josh on this, that this was for sure one of the first horror movies I got really into, but it was also the first Halloween movie I ever saw. And I was born in '86, so you said it came out in '98, so I was either 11 or 12. And I have, I'll share later. I'm sorry.
I think it was 88.
88.
Yeah.
Oh, 88. Okay, 88.
Yeah.
So I was, I guess, 2 when it came out. So early on, so I was in elementary school. We were probably, I don't know, maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. I have a vivid memory with a buddy of mine, Evan Sasson. We were kids, and we rented Halloween 4. And we went to Halloween 4 and Puppet Master.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, it was like classic video store era, kids in the 90s doing their thing. And that's one of my earliest memories of going to the tape store, watching a horror movie. And that scene with the thumb in we can get to it later, but that scene with the thumb in the ambulance is like ingrained in my brain as one of the first horror movie deaths I've ever seen. And that just stuck with me. I remember we paused it on the spot, and I was like, I don't know if I can watch this, dude. And we were like playing Magic the Gathering while we watched it, and and that was kind of like one of my first horror memories, and the first Halloween movie I watched for sure.
Wow, what a memory to have as well, to keep. Oh yeah, that scene. Whoa. So for me, this was a first time watch. I don't know why I've never seen it, because I've seen 1 to 3 before. And I actually really like number 3. I know it gets a bad rap, but I actually really quite like it. Even when I rewatched it, I thought, do you know what? I think it was a little bit ahead of its time, and people maybe didn't get it back then. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion.
I just think I think probably the earworm made people really angry, because that song, once it gets in your head, it does not go away again.
No, that's true. I've been singing it around the house all day, actually. Driving Kev mad. But yeah, so this is the first time watch for me. However, I do remember it being on in the background at my nan's house, and my nan obviously had it on at some point. I know.
I love your nan.
Yeah.
Super nan.
I know. But I remember the clown costume really vividly, and stuff like just clips from it. When I was watching it, it came back to me, and I thought, oh yeah, she definitely had that on at some point. I obviously just didn't sit there watching it. She'd probably terrified me enough at that point that I couldn't take anymore with like the Evil Dead and the Exorcist and stuff. But yeah, so I kind of done a marathon this weekend and watched 1 to 3, and then I watched number 4 today. Basically Kev's been ill, so I was like, oh, I'll just have a marathon of films.
That's some light viewing.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him or anything. You can just be shut in a bedroom and leave him alone. And
that's it. And then all he can hear is me going, happy, happy Halloween, as I'm walking up the stairs. So it was good to watch them back to back, really. I think it made me enjoy it more as well. Narissa said, I think this was the first one I saw when I was 12, I think. Yeah. Melina said this was the first time watch for me and I loved it. Yay! Eddie May said, I do love when Emma's on, just for the record, so nothing but love. Yeah, we know that, don't worry. Hussein says, I love all the Halloween films. So I haven't seen past 4. I haven't, oh no, I did see
Oh,
the
wow.
Rob Zombie Halloween, I'm sure.
You never seen H20?
Oh, yeah, of course I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I've seen that one. Forgot about. Heck, that's really bad of me, because that one's good. How could I forget? So I've not seen 5 or 6, and then I've not seen any of the new ones. Have you guys?
I really would urge you to watch 5 and 6, because I really want to know what you think of them.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to carry on my watch. Have you seen all of the Halloween films then, Josh?
I don't think I've seen the second Rob Zombie,
Ah.
and I couldn't finish Halloween Ends. I've tried twice, and I just couldn't get to the end of it.
You're better off, man. You're better off not watching it.
So,
although I will say the ending, without going off the deep end here, because you're like open Pandora's box for me.
yeah.
But Ends, I will say I enjoyed the last like 10 minutes or so. But so there is a reason to like watch the end of it, but that's about all I enjoyed of it. So I totally understand why you shut it off before it got to that point. Several times.
Oh. Okay, see, that intrigues me now. That I'm gonna try.
It's very
what's it gonna
polarizing
be?
trilogy. People like it's very divided. People either love it or they hate it. I'm in the camp of 2018, the first movie in that trilogy. I thought was fantastic, exceptional. The mood, the tone, the lighting, everything. It brought me all the way back to 1978. I thought it was perfect. And Kills and Ends not so much. So that's kind of my take.
It's such a weird. That's a really weird trilogy, because they're kind of they take elements from the sequels that they have actually completely retconned. So Halloween Kills has like a tearaway mob, just like in Halloween 4.
Right.
But it's like this weird thing where they retconned these films because they were bad, but then they still used all these elements from those films anyway. It's like a weird. It's such a bizarre project, that trilogy.
It is, and it was so after 2018. It felt so promising to me, and that's what's so hurtful when I watched Kills, and it just really disappointed me.
Yeah.
But it's fans are fans, right? And there's a reason why a lot of people really like it, and I'm just glad Michael is back on the big screen and people are able to enjoy him in different ways, and that's really cool. And I will say, for as much as I dislike both Kills and Ends for my own reasons, I do think they were different. And so for that, I think it's awesome for a director to come out and just not do the same thing and completely change it up. And so it's kind of cool that we do have this trilogy so much later. 78, it's 22, it's almost 50 years ago. So to have a trilogy on a movie that came out 50 years ago, and again, Halloween's my favorite movie of all time. So to have a movie like that still be celebrated 50 years later, and not only be celebrated, but to thrive and be doing great is a really cool thing. So
and is it so you with that the new trilogy, you kind of, is that in its own little trilogy?
So it takes place as if only 78 happened. So it's like it actually continues like 40 years later, but as if Michael, instead of can I spoil the ending of the first one? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Instead of him getting up, or I'm sorry, he gets up at the end and he's not there, and then they end up capturing him. He goes to a mental asylum, and he's there for like 40 years, and then it picks up right there.
And he's not her brother. All of that stuff has been completely retconned. Which is funny, because like that's such a huge reason that this film exists, is like, let's give him another relative kind of thing. And he only wakes up and gets angry when he finds out he has a niece, which is just such a bizarre. It's so funny.
It is funny. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's like a line in 2018 that they drop, I think, about her being about, I think, like the boyfriend of like the blonde side friend says, like, wasn't it her brother or something when they're walking down the street? Do you remember this, Josh? And then she's like, no, that was just some stupid rumor they made up to like appease the masses or something. So they dropped like that fourth wall line, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Sharon said, I saw this at the cinema on release back in the day. I really love little Jamie in this. Oh, yeah, she was really good. We'll have a chat about Jamie. Yeah, Jamie or Josh.
Joshy.
Joshy.
Wait, so Josh, I need some context here. Is this like a full on, like you made the costume yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, the costume stopped there. Like a red jumper on.
Is it like a bed sheet? What do you got going on there?
This is tissue paper.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Oh, brilliant.
This is just like a bit of silver card.
It looks great.
You've done a good job. It looks brilliant.
I already own these scissors. I don't know what that says about me.
Why?
I did already own these.
Josh?
Yeah.
They look very much like killer scissors, Josh.
They do, I know. They're quite heavy.
They look like us scissors.
Yes.
Josh is one of those us people. He's not the real Josh.
Oh.
And Emma, you are the soul sucker, right? From Beetlejuice 2?
Yes, yeah, Dolores.
Love it. So cool. I'm glad I saw it and I can appreciate your costume because I thought that was one of the best characters in the movie, if not the best. I thought it was very, very, it added a nice touch to the movie, an evil that I think it needed to be there,
Yeah.
I wish it would have had Dolores, actually. I would have liked a little bit more of her. I thought that
I agree.
Maybe they did, and we'll have like an extended edition on a DVD or something.
That'd be fun.
Ooh, that'd be good.
For Halloween 3?
Yes!
Yeah, there you go. I got it. Cool.
I didn't think anyone would get that.
I didn't know if it was like Wicked or Halloween 3. I was trying to figure out what it was.
Oh, well done, Robbie. I'm
great.
impressed.
It's great. Yeah, I actually have the mask over there.
Do ya?
You're the janitor from Scream, is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. Nailed it. You got it.
Oh, well done, Robbie. You got us all correct.
Well, nicely done, everyone. Great costume.
Narissa said, never saw Nightmare on Elm Street till my 20s and haven't seen any of the sequels, so definitely in the Halloween camp. Oh, nice.
See. Yeah.
Got a treat if you fancy watching them.
Eddie May.
I will drop this since we're all we're talking about Nightmare. The 40th anniversary 4K just dropped. So it's a big week for Nightmare on Elm Street fans. I'm a big physical media collector, and a lot of big movie collection. They just released a Nightmare on Elm Street 4K, which is like a really big deal in the world of physical media. So if anyone is looking to see it, maybe for the first time, whatever, they did release a 4K, which is
released
for sure.
In just the US, Robbie, or released in just the US or in the UK, or
it was released in the UK actually. Yeah, I have a UK edition from
right.
Yeah. It was a Warner Brothers release overseas for me. So I picked it up from Zavvi, if you're familiar.
Oh yeah.
And Orbit DVD, I think. But yeah, it's a UK release. So.
Oh wow!
Oh, I love 4K.
Have a look for that.
Much more, that you didn't get.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it'd be so cool.
Need that.
Check that out. Eddie Ray said, Halloween was my first horror film when I was a kid, and Michael Myers has been scaring me since. Can't hear that dang music to this day without getting creeped out. Halloween 4 was so good. Scott said, I think a lot of people don't like Halloween 3 because Michael isn't in it. Yeah, maybe.
No.
But yeah. We all need a nan like Shelley's. Yeah, I love my nan, bless her. And Hussein said, no, you must watch all the rest. Yeah, definitely. Narissa said, just watched 2018 and thought it was really good.
Nice.
Narissa says, ugh, no Rob Zombie around Halloween. Take it you weren't a fan, Narissa.
You know what's funny about the Rob Zombie movies? Like, I thought the 07, the first one was pretty cool. Like, different take. I thought it was cool, but the second one, I just don't know. I don't understand what he was trying to do. It didn't make sense to me. I thought it was not my cup of tea. But the 2007 remake, if you will, it was interesting. Not my favorite, but I thought he did a good job of doing what he was intending to do. Humanizing Michael Myers and going that whole route. It was a different take, and I thought that was kind of cool. It's also a very terrifying movie. Yeah. Say what you want about the film and remake and Rob Zombie, whatever. The film itself is terrifying. You know, there's some scenes in it that really stick with you. So yeah, I enjoyed the 2007.
Yeah, I have seen that one actually, and it was scary. I think I saw it at the cinema, and I remember, yeah, it terrified me. Mind Ben Media said the John Carpenter ones were better. Scott said the problem with Halloween Ends is it was written by different writers than the other two. Okay, yeah. Larissa said he only ended up being her brother because Carpenter and Hill didn't want to write number 2, so Halloween 2, so they made it as ridiculous as they could. Yeah, I read that as well. Interesting. So talking about John Carpenter then, so as Larissa just said as well, he didn't really plan on having Michael Myers in other Halloween movies, so he only wanted the first one because he wanted to do like a different story each time, which is what he then did with number 3. But because of the success, he kind of got pushed into doing the second one. So he tried to make it, you know, as over the top as possible. So originally, I think he wanted to do like a ghost story or something for the second one, rather than, you know, what he got. He just wanted to do anthology series. So do you think an anthology series like that would have worked under the name of Halloween, or do you think it was the right decision to push John Carpenter to do a second one? Robbie?
Oh boy. Good question. I do think it would have worked. It's interesting because to me, Halloween is my favorite movie of all time. So it is, you know, perfect in so many ways to me, and I cherish and I adore that movie. So it's hard to think about the fact that it could have been a standalone, you know, and that there was this whole universe created. But you know, I love anthology horror. So I think it totally maybe could have been a anthology type, you know, thing, because I'm also a big fan of Halloween 3, and I happen to love Halloween 3, and I think they did a phenomenal job, even though it wasn't as well received at the time. You know, it has grown a huge following over the years. And so I am curious to see. I don't know if it would have had staying power. Like, I think it might have hit probably, you know, the second and the third, and maybe would have like died out because it just wasn't what people wanted at the time. But I think the stories would have been great. You know, just judging on the fact that Halloween was such a great story, Halloween 3 was such a great story. Obviously the directing was fantastic. So yeah, I think it could have worked, you know, but I don't think it would have been the cultural, you know, phenomenon, the household thing that Halloween is, because, you know, Michael Myers is an icon, right? And so I don't think he would have grown to be that icon if they did the anthology style. So we could be sitting here however many years later. Not only that, but like, again, the masterpiece that it is responsible for so many other things. You know, Friday the 13th was a direct result of Halloween. So, you know, that movie was made as a response to Halloween because of how well Halloween did, and because they wanted to kind of mirror that. And actually, the ending of the Friday 13th was put in, you know, without spoiling anything, but the very end scene with the canoe was made because they wanted to do a pop ending, like Michael Myers, you know, not being there at the end. So there's a lot that came from Halloween. So, you know, I want to believe that it could have lasted, but I don't know, it wouldn't have become the cultural, you know, phenomenon that it has today.
Yeah, that's true. How about you, Emma? Do you think an anthology series would have worked better, maybe, or?
Oh, it's a tough one because we will never know because we haven't seen it. It could have been better. He could have done. I think. Oh, I'm on the fence on that because I think you have to give the creative license to do what they want to do and not force them into doing what they don't feel that, you know, as a creative, doing what they don't want to. But then again, if the audience is asking for more of that, you have to write for your audience. You've started it now, so finish it. So it's a tough one because I would have liked to see. Because I was thinking that actually when I was watching it, that wouldn't this be cool if it was called, because it's called Halloween, and it doesn't, for me, that doesn't fit with the subject matter at all. I know it takes place on Halloween, but for me, it's about a crazy serial killer with superhuman strength who just keeps coming back to life in a really ghastly, horrid, scary mask.
Do you think that's so interesting?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. I think that's so interesting that for you it's like about a serial killer, and for me it's like it represents everything Halloween. I think it's so interesting how we
Yeah,
can see
so
the movie
different.
differently, you know?
So yeah, so such a different idea of what it of what it is. So yeah, I think it would have worked if they'd have done like a couple of different. I would have liked to see a ghost one.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool. How about you, Josh? Or Joshy?
Joshy. I really like Halloween 3, but as a younger viewer, I was more excited about seeing Michael Myers again in Halloween 4. And I know that there have been anthology franchises like the VHS series. We had like Tales of the Crypt Keeper. They did sort of like an anthology approach, but I don't know if you would really. Yeah, Urban Legend did it as well, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you would retain the audience. I think that like Tales from the Crypt obviously had the TV series and it had the Crypt Keeper who kind of introduced the stories, so you had that familiarity. But for me, I watched like the first VHS and I haven't really watched any of them since because I don't know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously with Halloween, you kind of, with Michael Myers coming back, you do kind of know what you're going to get. It's like the McDonald's approach to filmmaking.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I think even if he'd gone down an anthology route back in the day, I think that maybe someone down the line, well, obviously we know he did sell the rights in the end, but down the line, Michael Myers would have come back regardless, I think.
Yeah.
So he probably could have got away with doing his anthology and then, brought Michael Myers back afterwards, maybe. Oh, we lost Robbie. He's been eaten by a ghost.
It's somebody's dream.
So obviously Jamie Lee Curtis had reportedly had no interest in reprising her role at the time of Laurie Strode. So the fourth film's leading character is called Jamie Lloyd, and was developed, as we mentioned, to be Laurie's daughter and a replacement for Laurie, who was mentioned killed in a car accident 11 months before the events of the fourth film, which I thought was interesting. Well, there's like really weird noises.
Creaky door.
You got a creaky door there, Robbie.
I'm sorry?
That door was
sorry.
creaky.
I had to step away for a second.
It's okay.
I was adding to the creepy ambiance,
So Jamie's name apparently in the original script was Britty Lloyd, but they changed it in a homage to Jamie Lee Curtis to Jamie. And obviously Danielle Harris.
Slightly differently. Isn't it Jame or something?
I think so, something like that. I think in my notes I've written it the way, like Jamie Lee Curtis way, but I think it was different. And obviously we get introduced to Danielle Harris. So what did you think of Danielle Harris's performance as Jamie, Emma?
Oh, I thought she was the best thing. Honestly, I felt everyone else could not act for toffees, and she was acting her heart out. She was absolutely brilliant. She just, what an amazing little child actress, and I'd never heard of her before. So I was like, where did this kid come from? Why haven't I never seen her on the screen? So yeah, I think she was absolutely brilliant. She really made me believe that she was terrified.
Yeah,
brilliant
definitely.
actress.
How about you, Josh? Did you like Danielle?
Love her.
Harris's
She's
performance?
so good in it, and like she has to do so much. She's basically the lead of the film, and she's like 10. And she portrays that sort of sense of terror, that sense of loss, that sense of like not really belonging. She's been adopted into this new family. She's just great. I really love her, and I love that she has become this like horror icon. I actually knew her from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, where she plays the like tomboy member of the family.
Oh yes, I hadn't
put that together.
Yeah, she's great in that as well, and obviously she's great in Urban Legend as the goth chick in the dorm.
Of course.
I've not put those things together at all.
No, I didn't think either.
She's just great. She was in an episode of Charmed. She's brilliant. She's so fun. She did a podcast with She actually has a podcast that I've listened to a few times.
Scout Taylor Compton.
Yeah, from the remake. Yeah, just like a really great human being, basically.
Oh,
Awesome.
How about you, Robbie? Do you like her performance in this
Yeah,
film?
I agree with both you guys. You know, I thought she was fantastic. And like Josh said, man, I'm just happy for her. Getting the recognition she deserves. I think she's really there was a lot of years where people didn't really see her as this, you know, anyone in the horror kind of community, and she's really come on in the later years as like a final girl scream queen kind of figure. And I'm just happy for her because she again, you know, she's not Jamie Lee Curtis, but she has a huge part in the Halloween in lore. You know, she does play a major role. So for her to get her flowers, to get her kind of recognition at this point, to be doing the cons, and you know, I know all different companies like Terror Threads, they do like just a specific Danielle Harris line of shirts and like posters, and she's really become a huge, you know, figure in the horror convention and community. And so I'm happy that her career is at a point where, you know, like Josh said, she's doing the podcast and she can look back and be like, this was awesome. This is something that I did that I really enjoyed doing, and the fans enjoyed it too because she got her flowers in I think she was in the '07 Rob Zombie remake too, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's one of the friends. And
Yeah.
so she plays a big role. Like they paid homage to her in '07. So I'm just glad she was great in Halloween 4, and I'm glad that she is at a point in her career where she can kind of have fun with it and do the podcast with Scout Compton and just have fun, man. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, yeah. And I did read that one of the people who auditioned for the role of Jamie was Melissa Joan
Yeah.
Hart.
Oh
And
wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine
Sabrina.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that at all because I just think maybe Danielle Harris did such a good performance that you just can't picture anyone else doing it, except maybe
No.
the girl. Obviously, it might not have happened, but maybe the girl from
Oh yeah.
Poltergeist.
Yeah,
Molly Rourke.
Getting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
she was
so
brilliant as well.
their facial expressions and the way they used them was very similar, I thought,
Mm.
You know,
and Danielle Harris did such a good job.
not to get morose, but I read recently that the girl from Poltergeist
Yeah,
died. Very unfortunately.
yeah,
I just heard about this. Very sad stuff. Not to
yeah,
bring
Yeah.
the mood down, but I
yeah.
heard that. It is very sad.
I think wasn't it during the third film? I think
Yes,
Yeah.
it
she
was, and they
died.
thought it was that somebody. There was a rumor when I was watching them as a kid that they were. It was supernatural causes.
Yeah,
Wow.
So
I
that
heard that as
ghosts
well.
I
came and
didn't know
got
that
her.
all these years until recently, a couple
Yeah,
weeks ago.
I
Yeah,
think
that
she
I think she
had
died from sepsis. Was septic
septic or
shock?
yeah, it was a
something.
huge
Yeah,
Yeah,
thing.
it's really sad.
it was very
Yeah.
Yeah.
sad. She was so talented as well, really talented. But apparently as well, I did read that Danielle Harris did reveal that when her character's running through the neighborhood screaming for help, which is like terrifying when you hear it, and she was like banging on the doors, yelling, help me, help me. And apparently it was 4 o'clock in the morning when they were filming that, and someone actually did call the police because they thought she was being kidnapped.
Oh no!
So she must
Well,
have
there you
been really
go.
convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
She's also really good in Halloween 5, and her character does appear at the start of Halloween 6, but Danielle Harris doesn't play her, which I'm really happy about because something happens to Jamie at the start of Halloween 6 that is really quite horrible, like really horrible.
Wow.
So I'm really glad that we didn't have to watch Danielle Harris do that because it would have been really quite traumatizing, I think, seeing her as a little kid.
Coming back to me now that you
Oh,
said
it's
it,
awful.
I haven't, you know, again, like I haven't watched 6 in a couple of years, but now that you mention it, now I remember it. Yeah, you're right.
A lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Very
Oh, I'm glad I don't know who that is.
Has anyone ever met her at a convention or anything, or during?
No.
Oh, I'd love to meet her. I think it'd be so fab.
Actually, I haven't met her, but she's gonna be at Monster Mania in November 9th, which I will be in attendance for. So maybe I'll have to
Oh, cool.
surprise and do a
Oh,
let her know I did a Halloween 4 podcast.
Oh yeah, let her
Yeah.
know. That'd be so cool. Oh, proper fangirl in there. Larissa, going back to the anthology thing, Larissa said, plus we wouldn't have got so much fabulous Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
He's such a good character. Like it's so like straight laced, and yeah, some of the lines he comes out with was brilliant. Larissa said Mustafa Cad. I hope
Oh
I've
yeah, the
said that right.
producer.
The
The
pronunciation's
producer.
on point right now.
I'm doing
Yeah.
so
On
well
point.
tonight. It's the makeup. And so he kind of had Carpenter over a barrel, Narissa said. Can't remember the name of it, but I saw a really good documentary about the franchise. So that must have been because eventually John Carpenter sold the rights to him, as far as I know, for Michael Myers and the Halloween franchise. And he died of something. I don't know whether he died suspiciously or something happened to him anyway. Larissa said, love Danielle Harris. Yeah, she's in Urban Legend. Sharon said she was brilliant. Never seen her in anything else though. I think like she's one of those that we have seen her in things. She plays such a good character we don't recognise.
That's what
Was
it
she
is.
on
Also,
Seventh Heaven? Am I mistaken in that?
Say that
I don't
again.
know.
Was
She
she on
did do some
Seventh Heaven?
WB
Am I
stuff.
mistaken?
Oh.
I could be wrong.
She also made a movie with Katherine Heigl where they played sisters and they did like a body swap type thing called Wish Upon a Star.
Oh
And
wow.
I was also obsessed with that film.
Oh, I'm gonna have to have a look at that. Larissa said, pretty sure she was in Erie, Indiana for one
Oh yes, she
episode.
was.
Oh, I
Oh wow.
loved Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Update. I don't
She
think she
worked.
was in
She
Seventh
worked
Heaven. I
a
lied.
lot.
I thought she was.
She was in Charmed. She was in the sort of Charmed.
Larissa said they really screwed Danielle Harris around with that one. Like oh no, you're giving me all the big words, Larissa. Like she emancipated herself or something like that. And last minute they recast. Oh, right. Oh. Loved Wish Upon a Star, Narissa said as well. And Melina said, did she play a teenage witch in an episode of Charmed?
Yes, she was in The Fourth Sister and she tries to like ingratiate herself into the Hallowell's lives and Prue's suspicious, but Phoebe really likes her. And it all works out fine in the end.
Oh, and Hussein said Akkad was killed by Al Qaeda in Jordan, and now it's owned by his son Malik. Oh, so the rights is owned by his son. Oh wow, didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. I knew that he died, but I wasn't sure the circumstance. Melina says she loves that episode of Charmed.
Yeah.
Viva.
She played a Viva, sorry.
I know.
I've got this ridiculously useless well of information about Charmed that I never get to use.
We'll have to plot on how we could use them, Josh. So obviously Michael Myers in this does a lot of stalking like he normally does in all his films. So what's your favourite Michael Myers stalking scene in Halloween 4? Emma?
I don't know, but what I thought was my funniest one. It's quite comical, I've got to say. I found, the script was written in 11 days. I could tell, and so I found it quite funny because he was in the mirror in a room that it was a dream, wasn't it? So I liked the fact that it was a dream, but because I hadn't watched the one before or the one before that, I didn't know why she was having these dreams or what was going on. But I quite like the dream sequence. So he's in the mirror, then he's not in the mirror, and I'm thinking he can't be in the house because you would have seen him like through the mirror. So it was very cleverly done because then obviously you're sitting there thinking, how the hell did he get in there? He didn't get in there because it's her having a freak out. So I like that one best because it sort of tripped me up a little bit, which I quite liked. But I wasn't sure why she was obviously I knew that she was traumatized by him in some way, but because I should have done what you did, Shelley, and watch 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, I'm just going to have to guess here, but and that was very good because I thought he was in the house and he wasn't. So I was like, how did he be in the house? That can't be right.
That was
and of course he wasn't because it was a dream sequence.
That was a really good scene, actually. Yeah, it was all a dream. How about you, Robbie? Have you got a favourite Michael Myers?
Michael. First of all, Emma, I agree. I love that scene. I think the dream sequence is so cool. And like that's one of the things I remember as a kid, like that thunder crackling in the background and like Michael Myers, I love that scene. So anyway, I think my favorite stalking scene, there's some good ones in this movie, I'm not gonna lie. I think my favorite, I don't know if it's actually a Michael Myers stalking scene, but there's a scene when Kelly, the girl, the blonde girl who I guess I don't know his name.
The boyfriend stealer.
The boyfriend.
The boyfriend. His name is.
I should know.
I'm trying to find it. His name is Brady in the movie.
Brady.
And so it's Brady's the girl that he like cheats on Rachel with, and like Rachel like sees him when they're trick or treating, whatever. And so Rachel is like standing there in a t-shirt, and she's like looking around, and I think that the t-shirt says something about like good cops, or like good cops do it right, or something.
Oh yeah.
And she
Good
sees
cops do it by the book.
What's up?
Good cops do it by the book.
Yes.
Good cops do it by the book. That's it. And which is so great because her dad's the sheriff. But anyway, so right, her dad's the sheriff, I think. Yeah. So anyway, so she sees the rocking chair just kind of rocking back and forth, and she thinks it's the cop that's on guard to protect them. And the camera pans to like the actual cop who's like lying on the floor dead. And then the guy in the rocking chair stands up with his shotgun, and it's Michael Myers standing there with a shotgun, and he walks up to her, and it's a really cool shot of him like turning around, and he walks up to her, and she's scared, like he's got a shotgun, and he doesn't shoot her, he impales her with the shotgun right into the wall, and I love that turnaround. I love the shot of him just rocking in the chair. So that one for sure. That's my favorite.
And that to me felt like a homage to the first film where the boyfriend goes downstairs to get a beer, and then obviously he gets knifed and up the wall. So I was like, oh, quite like that.
Funny story about that scene, actually. I met the woman who plays Bob. Not Bob was the guy that got killed, the boyfriend, but Linda, is it? Linda? I'm trying to remember. Linda.
Yeah.
So, Linda, I met her at a con, a few years ago, and, my name's Robbie, so I go up there, and she's wearing her Totally shirt and all that stuff.
Totally.
And, we start talking, she goes, hey, what's your name? I said, Robbie. And she goes, oh, you're way cuter than my Bob. And I will take that with me till the day I die, because that was such a fanboy moment for me. And, but that scene with Bob and her, that was cool.
PJ Souls.
PJ Souls, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
Who got deafened in one ear in Carrie because they were spraying that hose thing in the prom in the gym, and she got water in her ear and deafened her in one ear.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow. I forgot she was in Carrie. How could I? I'm doing rubbish tonight, guys. How about you, Josh? What's your favourite stalking moment?
It has to be the roof.
Yeah, that was
I just love like an action sequence in a horror movie. That kind of high concept, like literally high in this instance, like a high concept situation that is like terrifying in and of itself, being on the roof, and then you add in Michael Myers. I think it's so well done. It's really scary. It's kind of, it does become comical actually when Michael starts like staggering around on the roof and he's got his shoulder pads on and just looks a bit silly. But the sequence in itself I think is really, really brilliantly done.
Yeah, and I think the one of the actresses actually, she did hurt herself on that roof, I think.
Oh yeah, she scraped a nail up her chest or something.
Ouch.
I mean, it was. I totally agree, Josh. That scene is just like, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Yes, that was going to be my pick as well. So I'll pick a comical thing, because there was a lot of comical elements I feel that weren't really meant to be comical.
Yes.
So the thing that started me off originally was when they. At the beginning, the doctor stops at the garage, and then obviously Michael Myers kind of like bursts out in whatever the car and that, and then you kind of get like Donald Pleasance doing this like jump, like to the side, and then there's like this explosion and all sorts, and I was was wetting myself. But the thing is, I mean, it was very dramatic, but it was just like, to me, I just thought it was just hilarious. Like typical 80s like action scene there, I thought. Oh dear. So after they finished filming, apparently Danielle Harris kept the clown costume and wore it trick or treating, which I think is
this one?
yeah, that one, Josh. Yeah, now you've got it. Because apparently she did sell it to a fan, Josh. She did. Yeah. So are you a fan of the clown costume in this? I'm not sure if tell me if it appears in 5 and 6 as well, because I haven't seen those yet. But are you a fan, Josh?
I love it. It's clearly a throwback to Michael as a kid in the first film. So I love that it kind of bookends those two films. It begins the first Halloween, it ends Halloween 4. It's just creepy as anything. It's brilliant. I think that ending would have been far less impactful if she hadn't been wearing a clown costume. It's great.
Yeah, that's so true. That ending is more creepy because she's wearing the clown costume, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like history repeating itself.
Yeah, definitely. Were you a fan of the clown costume, Emma?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought that was a great thing for her to go in and choose her own costume, to be this creepy kind of clown. I thought, though, her ending it with the scissors, and I thought that came out of left field. There was no inkling anywhere along that she was going to turn nuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was completely, you think you've done something really bloody clever there, don't you? But I'm here to tell you, no, that was not really clever. That was out of left field, and nobody, and I knew they were going to do it. I was like, please don't do it. I know you're going to do it. Don't do it. And then it was done. But what I really would have liked to come out of that, the good thing to take away from that, is why didn't they do a killer clown thing, and it's just called Jamie, like dripping in blood? Why the hell? I would have loved that. I thought, gosh, that outfit that she was wearing, with like what Josh was wearing, with the mask and the red nose and the white, you could really do something cool with a female serial killer, which had been on the ground, and get. Yeah, I'd love them for the franchise if they made one that was just called Jamie, and she was doing. I would be like, yeah, I'm in. I would watch that.
Yeah, that would be so cool. What a good idea, Emma.
Yeah.
Emma has the good ideas.
Yeah.
Write it, Emma. Write it.
On the there's a documentary on the DVD where the director says that he kind of implies it. He doesn't outright say it, but it's almost like she touched Michael's hand when he was lying down on the ground. And did that mean the curse passed through that touch?
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, I was going to say, was it that did it?
Yeah. For me, too subtle. I was like, that was really. I saw that. I thought, what's she doing? And I thought it didn't quite connect the dots for me, but I did pick up on that, Josh. That she touched his hand. But what's she doing? She's just terrified. Why is she touching his hand? So yeah, there's a bit of a supernatural element in it, I think you need to let your audience know, because I was just like, this is too out of left field for me personally. Yeah.
How about you, Robbie? Did you like the clown costume and the twist?
I did, yeah. Being such a fan of 78, I think that it was a nice throwback, and I think that they wanted to, maybe there was some like bad blood there between like the fans, and they wanted to kind of like make amends again. Like, we know we moved away from Michael in number 3, but we wanted to kind of like bring this together. But I'm with both Josh and Emma. I think they both nailed it. I think they did a great job with it. I think they wanted to pay homage to the original, and they wanted to kind of bring this twist ending back, because that was really big, right, in the 80s, and the twist endings, and so yeah, I thought it was cool, and I love the way that they paid homage to the past, and being such a big fan of the franchise and the lineage, and it's also it's very creepy.
Yeah,
it's a very scary scene. And Halloween 4 is a scary movie. It's a Halloween movie. A lot of cool. I think what separates 4 from like some of the earlier movies is that it's scarier to me. I think there's more I guess I'm trying to think of the right word. But there's more kind of jump scares. I think, and they do a nice job of setting those up for you. And I think that ending really whether you like it or not, I think tied it together and gave a nice twist there. And you know, the image of her standing there with the scissors is terrifying. You know, it really is. I think it put a nice, it wrapped it all together in a nice bow for fans of the original series, and it was a making amends kind of thing. So
yeah. No, definitely. It was really creepy. But the thing is, though, then they all came on the stairs and they're like, no! Yeah, it was good. I did like.
I have to say, though, wearing the mask, it's very difficult to see anything. So if you're able to kill someone wearing this mask, I applaud you.
Round of applause.
Josh, you haven't happened to have touched Michael Myers at any point. Gotta make that clear.
Oh dear, I love that. And talking about Michael Myers, just quick, I know I'm going over time because of the internet problems, but what was with the mask in this one? So it was a different mask, right? Like, Josh, help.
Okay, so the thing that I read, which is what Dwight Little, the director, said, was that he wanted to build Michael back piece by piece as he was coming back to Haddonfield. So that's why he goes to the petrol station to get the boiler suit. He goes to town to get the mask.
Yeah.
And the director kind of said the reason the mask looks a bit crap is because it's meant to be. It's sort of like a dime store mask. It's not meant to be the scary William Shatner thing that he wore in the first film. And that doesn't quite translate to the screen, I don't think. It's a fun idea, but it looks a bit silly.
Yeah.
I will say it's not the worst mask in the franchise.
Oh,
agreed.
But it's intentional, but it doesn't quite work, I don't think.
I think there's enough of the original on the mask to like understand. It is like a thicker neck, and there's scenes where you look and kind of looks like Michael Myers, like a heavy guy, and that's not really how he was in the first one or second one. So it's different in that sense, but I do think it is the closest one, outside of like, I guess actually H2O is probably the closest one in my opinion. But when you get into like 5 and 6, they just get like the nose is like thinner. It looks a lot different.
Yeah.
So I think 4 still was in the realm of like those Shatner masks,
Because I'm sure. Yeah, go Emma.
Noticed that was it a doctor in the brown coat that was going around acting kind of crazy, chasing Michael all over the place? He had a scar on his face that kept changing shape. Did anyone notice that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, what's going on? And Chris is like, you're obsessed over this scar, and I was like, it's changing. So,
I think
I wanted to there at all.
It was really like in the first scene. It was a really quite horrific scar, and I think maybe they shocked themselves and decided to tone it down a little bit.
No,
I see. Yeah.
I think that I read that someone, either his girlfriend or wife or something at the time, Donald Pleasant's bit on the side or whatever. Not that he would do such a thing, but
I mean, it's Donald Pleasant. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you would. Anyway, so I think they said, oh, it looks like a bit egg shaped or something. So he commented on it, so they changed it. So I think that's why it changed about halfway through, because it looked like an egg or something.
It changed again. Like they must have shot a scene that was later with the egg scar. Because I was like, yeah, there it is there. No, it's not there. No, it's not there. There it is. No, it's not.
Now I got to look for it. I've never noticed that before. So
it really stood out to me. I did really notice that. And also as well, at one point, and I did rewind it to check it wasn't my eyes losing the plot, but Michael Myers has a blonde hair at some point in the school.
Oh, I didn't see that.
School scene.
It's because they messed up.
Yeah,
they ran out of time and they realized they needed this one shot, but they'd messed up the mask. And so they just grabbed the second, like the stunt mask, shoved that on the guy, and were like, no one's ever going to notice. But now it's like this infamous thing that he's blonde in one shot.
Yeah, because I saw it and I thought, wait a sec, is there going to be? Then I was thinking, oh, is there going to be like a different killer or something? Like, because obviously I'd never seen it before. So I actually rewound it and I was like, he was definitely blonde there.
Yeah.
So
I missed that.
Yeah. Larissa said, I like to think that the roof scene was a homage to Scream 4.
Oh yeah.
Scott said, oh, I'm really behind. He said that would have been great. I'm not sure to which bit, but
Jamie, I
somebody said
think.
something genius. And Larissa said uncle and niece slashing team. Yeah. Oh, the Jamie thing. Yeah. That Emma mentioned.
Yeah.
Eddie Ray said, yes, a Jamie movie. Maybe Michael could mentor her too.
Ooh,
but
there's an
just
idea.
Don't hold the knife like this. Hold the knife like this.
yeah.
You rub it really hard. Pull your weight behind
Yeah.
it.
Now, when you're
and
stalking, make sure you've got quiet shoes.
and not the blonde wig.
Yeah, yeah.
Never the blonde wig.
Eddie Ray said, but just Jamie getting the crazy murderous gene would just be brilliant. Yeah, definitely.
And I do
And
follow
just
that through into Halloween 5. I think her plot in Halloween 5 is actually probably the most interesting part of that film, but the rest of it is pretty shite, to be honest.
I'm going to definitely give it a watch and let you know. So just a really couple of last quick questions, and then I'll let you go. But why do you think that we have such an expectation for the character of Michael Myers? Because when I was looking at like doing a bit of research for questions and stuff, the amount of hate this film gets, and I think it's unjustified because I really enjoyed it for what it is, but I read somewhere that someone said people have such a high expectation of Michael Myers that's then they get let down. So why do you think we have that? Because this was only 4 films in at that time, Robbie.
You had to start with me first, huh?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, interesting question. I guess I didn't really know there was a lot of hate around Halloween 4. I think I feel like it's one of those things that, again, at the time was probably a lot more hated than it is now. I think now it's kind of accepted as just what it is, and but I think it's one of those things that it's kind of like the Halloween 3 effect, right? Like when it came out, I think people were so excited for it. And same thing with 4. Like this is the return of Michael Myers. Like this was like a beloved character, a beloved franchise. And again, 78 came out in 78, of course, and then the second one came out, I think, in 81. I want to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, 78, 81. We're talking 7 years between Halloween Michael Myers movies, and I think there was a buzz, and I think people were really excited. And I think for it not to, the first one's a masterpiece. The second one's excellent also, but Carpenter, he really, the ambiance, the mood, the tone, the cinematography in Halloween 78 is truly a masterpiece in my opinion. And I think that it wasn't the same masterpiece, and I think it turned into more of a slasher, more of a modern day slasher, and I think it lost a little bit of the magic, and now it's kind of movie where we can look back on now and be like, it was a fun movie, but at the time, people wanted a masterpiece. And I think people were expecting a masterpiece, and people were expecting it to be this thing. And I think the little things, like the mask being different, I think played a big role at the time in people wanting to and accept this movie as the successor to 1 and 2, right? And so I think now, maybe I'm wrong, and I don't know where you read these comments, but I think now it's a lot more accepted as just a fun movie in the franchise. And but I think at the time it just wasn't what people wanted, and I think that's the reason for maybe that it didn't wasn't as received as well as some other movies in the franchise.
Yeah, and then it's like as you said earlier, Bobby, like I found this one compared to the original much more like jump scary and much more, it felt a little bit more slasher than the original.
Even small, again, like I mentioned, the mask being a little different. I think that had a huge role in it. But even the opening credits, they didn't do the pumpkin intro. And I think those little things, as a fan and for fans all over the world, those are the things that make these movies so special to us. And part of the reason why I love 2018 so much, I think they really did a good job. There's a scene in 2018, without going over my time here, but there's a scene in 2018 where Michael finds the mask in the trunk, and then it fades to black. And then you just see him looking out over the town, and it's just littered with Halloween everywhere. And that was, they did such a good job of grabbing the mood, grabbing the tone, grabbing the ambiance. And then, you know, a kid walks up and bumps into him, and the kid just looks up, and, you know, homage to the original. And I think 2018 did such a good job of that. And I think Halloween 4 suffered in that respect. They didn't, you know, they did little things here and there, but they didn't do enough to really make you feel like this was a successor to Halloween 1 or 2. So I think that's kind of the reason, in my opinion.
No, that's a good point. How about you, Emma? Why do you think we hold Michael Myers in such a high regard?
I agree with Robbie. Recently, obviously, with I don't know how recent it was, but with the changes to Sonic the Hedgehog, they had to go back to the original Sonic, what he looked like, because everybody absolutely hated what they've done, the changes. And I think you're right in what you say, that is what people expect, and they do want the same but different. But they still want the same. So, you know, you have to make it different, but not so different that they disconnect with the character. So I agree with that. It's an iconic mask. It's an iconic boiler suit, you know, knife. That's what it is. And if you start messing around with it too much, even that subtle change, and it was with the Sonic, it wasn't that much of a change, but it was enough for the fans to go, no, thanks. And they had to change it. Otherwise, no one would have gone to see the movie.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh?
Don't you think that Michael Myers is kind of like the definition of pale and interesting? Like he doesn't say anything. There's a lot of mystery going on there. And I think that a lot of people kind of come to the films expecting something different from him, and like there's no one thing that you really want Michael Myers to do necessarily. You just want him to be creepy and quiet.
Yeah, that's so true.
So there's different ways he can be played, I guess. For me, it was always like, yeah, he is completely silent, but it was like that pale, emotionless face that is just terrifying. So yeah, no, those are really interesting points. I love that.
I think the other thing, just, you know, kind of piggybacking on what Josh just said, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time, you know, other than when he was a kid, and that brief, quick second at the end of 78 where she pulls off the mask, but like, you know, you see him at the beginning of Halloween 4, like in the ambulance, and you see his arm and it's all scarred up, and like you see a little bit more of him, which is not inherently a bad thing, but I think it wasn't another example of it not being the character that was created. And so it has grown more, and I think it's like 2018 did it also, but I don't think at the time it's at all what people wanted. So seeing him more human and seeing his hand and seeing all that stuff is just not what people wanted. You know, it wasn't the character the beloved character that they had loved.
Yeah, definitely. And then Narissa's just put, I think the only thing everyone can agree on is that resurrection is an abomination. I haven't
like
seen that yet.
Maybe I'm in the minority.
So my final question then, and then I'll let you all go. So where does Halloween 4 rank in your Halloween ratings? So Josh?
It's pretty high up there. I would say it comes below H20, but above, you know, the reboots and the Rob Zombies and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe like third or fourth in my ranking, I would say.
Yeah. So is H20 your favourite?
It's like my favorite after the first one.
After the first one. Yeah. That's good. And that, so you've seen the first and the fourth one.
So I'm not really qualified to answer this, but
did you like it better, or do you like the original?
No, I didn't rate number 4. I'm going to be honest. I thought that the little girl was the best part of it, and I could have just watched a whole movie about her. So I agree with all the points everybody said, but I thought the script was lacking for me. When you compare it to the first one, I don't think, it didn't match up. So number 1, and then that one, because I haven't seen any of the others, but now I need to. Clearly, I need to.
And how about you, Robbie? Where does it rank in your Halloween rankings?
So there's actually, I'm gonna plug myself real quick because I'm actually working on a video on my YouTube right now about my Halloween rankings. You know, in the franchise. So I'm working on it. I'm hopefully gonna finish it this week. you know, a buddy of mine had recommended that I do that, so I was like, you know, it sounds like a great idea. And Chris Archesk, I don't know if you're familiar, he wrote The Bad Things We Did, out now, great short story anthology.
Yeah.
But he had recommended it, so I was like, you know what, great idea, I'm gonna do it. And so be on the lookout for that video. But
Yeah.
78 is always gonna be king to me. It is my favorite movie of all time. So 78. Then I love 2018. Then I love H2O like Josh, so definitely those three up top. And then I think Halloween 3 is probably my next one. Then Halloween 2, and then I think it'd be Halloween 4. So probably like the 6 or 7 range. So
Oh,
middle of the
interesting.
pack. I enjoy it. It's like the movie. It's like the comfort film of the franchise for me. It's like it's Halloween, and it is always going to be Halloween to me. But it's just something I put on. I don't need something major. I just want to have it on to get in the Halloween spirit. I'll watch it maybe like mid-September, you know, to really get me in the Halloween spirit, to give me the ambiance. But it's not one of my favorites. But I enjoy it, and it gets me in the Halloween spirit, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll definitely share your video
Cool.
when that goes live, so do let me know. And I think for me, obviously, I'm just going to class it as I've just rewatched these 4. So for me, I think first one is always going to be king. Then I think for me, this one came underneath the first one, then number 3, then number 2. But obviously, I'm going to rewatch all the rest, and then I'll do like an official ranking and see. Yeah, I'll probably be going to Josh in the DMs like, Josh, why did you make me watch 5 and 6?
Yeah, Josh.
It has to be done. It has to be done.
But yeah, on that note then, thanks guys. This has been such an interesting chat. Like, it's been great talking about the film and like the whole franchise as well. And I'm really intrigued to watch the new ones now, which I wasn't too bothered before, but I think I'm definitely going to give it a go.
Yeah, thank you,
But
Shelly.
yeah.
And
Oh,
you know,
thank you.
Josh and Emma, so nice to talk to you guys, and
Yeah, you
you
too.
know, get to know you guys. We haven't really, you know, interacted too much on social media, so I appreciate you guys, you know, inviting me on, and Shelly having me on, and this is a blast. Thank you
Oh,
guys.
it's always a pleasure to like chat to
Yeah.
you. And I thought, oh, when I was looking for someone, I thought, oh, I bet Robbie would like be good at this, like, 'cause I knew that you liked
Right up my
Halloween.
alley, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, and do check out Robbie's books as well as Josh's books and Emma's books, and basically just all their channels. And I've got something in my eye, and
fly
their
is back.
feed. Oh dear, yeah, I know. It's come over here, Emma, now. Thanks to everyone in the comments as well for your fab comments, and we'll see you next month if we live. Oh,
I don't know what's
well
happening.
then, Robbie.
Sorry.
That was like perfect timing, that was.
Seriously. That's awesome. I don't know how that's happening, but it's happening.
Oh, thanks, guys. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Woohoo! See you later. Bye.